shit shower to shave, just straight up, man. And that's right, Miller Mike is back. We're back, brother. We're back, Jack. We're rolling, man. It's the beginning of summer. Let's roll, America. Woo!
All right, let's roll indeed. How are you doing, Miller? Mike, you got the glasses on. You're ready to go. We are
Hell yeah,
summer
brother.
bound.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah, you're out for it. How was before we jump into anything, how was your WrestleMania weekend? That was two
It was
weekends
great,
ago.
brother.
We haven't
The
got a
only
chance
thing
to
I
talk
had,
about it.
you're goddamn right, brother. The only thing I wanted is old Macho Man didn't come from the grave. That's all I gotta say. And I didn't want a Hulk Hogan there coming from the NWO too, man. Hollywood Hulk Hogan. What's up with that, brother?
Man, after Hulk got booed off the stage at the first day of Netflix on Raw, I don't think he's showing his mug back around them spots. I think he's
Yeah, I don't think so too. But they're starting their own wrestling promo, brother. It's called it's all about amateur wrestling, freestyle American wrestling, brother. Him, Eric Bischoff.
They're starting their own thing. Is this a true thing?
Oh, hell yeah, brother. Hell
Okay.
yeah.
I did not know that. Well, good for them. I'm glad they're keeping busy. They can certainly use it.
So yeah, man, what about that? What about that Woodstock 99, man? I know that Chef Gus, my alter ego. He was over there on the other side there. You know, we kind of just got rid of him. So we're talking about what he was talking about. Woodstock 99, man. How do you feel about it, brother?
I'll tell you what, man, if there's any music festival that I could ever attend at any point in my life, it would have been Woodstock 99. So here's the thing about Woodstock 99 as a connoisseur of that specific festival. I loved all of the documentaries on it, loved learning about it. There's a great podcast on it too. So the people that put on Woodstock 99, they also put on Woodstock 94. Woodstock 94 went really well. Comparatively, it went really well, and then it rained. They did it at the original fairgrounds where the Woodstock 69 went on, and it rained so much that people jumped over the fence. A bunch of people got in for free, but you had the Cranberries playing there. 9 Inch Nails played there. It was a great show. So then 5 years later, they wanted to do it again. They did Woodstock 99, and they rented out that airfield where it was just god awful hot. The reason they did that, they rented out this abandoned airfield, was because the security on it was, clearly it's a old military base, was way better than at the first one, so they could keep people out, keep all the non-paying folks out of Woodstock. So they
brother, that sounds pretty hot, man. What's the problem?
Yeah, it got really hot, and people started passing out. People started. I think there were a few deaths. There was a few deaths at the Metallica show. It was just wild. They didn't have enough water. They charged exorbitant amount of prices for it. But what I will say, you can go on YouTube right now. So that whole Woodstock 99 festival was shown live on pay-per-view on DirecTV. Like, you pay the $100, you could watch the whole thing. They do that like now with Coachella and everything on YouTube. But they were probably the first ones to do it, showed it live on pay-per-view. You can go back and watch these performances. Man, Limp Bizkit's performance, incredible. Korn's performance was incredible. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Metallica put on a great show. Kid Rock was there back in the day before he turned into a lunatic. It was just quite the spectacles. I love going back. I probably watched.
Hey, bro, there's nobody talking about lunatics around here, all right?
Yeah. I probably go back and watch the Limp Bizkit one at least once a year. I just turn it on, crank it up. I love watching their set from Woodstock 99.
Hey, brother, it can't be too hot for a good time, man. Hey, it ain't the only time that people were passing up, man. There were rapes and all kinds of shit going on. Sound like one wild time. Where were the cops at, man? They didn't want to go in there. It was like fucking World War III, brother. And that's,
it was World War III. The biggest issue I think with Woodstock 99 wasn't necessarily like the people there. Like, it was very violent, very rowdy, and you had like the rowdiest bands ever playing, right? You had Limp Bizkit going into Korn, going into Metallica. Like it was just a nutso event. But it was put on so poorly. They didn't have free water for anyone. They had nowhere near enough facilities, and they put people out. They, didn't have tents available for them. It was just a terribly run uh, organization, so much so that when you get these people there in the heat, it turns into what's that great Spike Lee movie, Do the Right Thing, right? You get people out in the hot, just heat, sweltering all day. You make them mad. All you need is that little spark. Something's going to happen. And then, they were, what were they doing? They were hyping up like the end.
I just think people just want to have a good time and start burning shit down, man. You know what I mean? You got Limp Bizkit, you got Kid Rock, you got Metallica. Who else was there? You had Korn. I mean, obviously that's the kind of goddamn, the attitude you're going to get, right, brother?
That was the big thing. And then ended with the Chili Peppers, right? So Limp Bizkit
Yeah,
was
you were
night
thinking
two.
Wasn't the Chili Peppers dude came out and his dick's all,
He
whacking
came out
around?
naked. He came out naked. You're absolutely right. He was just flopping that thing all around. You could go
Big old hammer.
You can go to YouTube and see full frontal nudity from Flea on at
You don't even
Woodstock
know go to
99.
YouTube, brother. You just go on Netflix. It's right there.
It's on Netflix too. But yeah, I mean, their whole set's on there, and that was the issue, right? They kept hyping up this like last thing. They're like, "Oh, stay for after the Chili Peppers. We're gonna have something really special. It's gonna be super cool." And there were a ton of rumors flying around. Everyone thought Prince was gonna play. This is '99, right? Like they're gonna party like it's 1999. Prince is gonna come out, gonna be incredible. And then it was nothing. It was like a small video of Jimi Hendrix doing his guitar solo from '69, and they gave everyone these candles during the Chili Pepper set. They wanted to do like a little, hold your candle vigil thing. And, you give all these people that are young, angry, mad, you give them all fire, and you hype up an event that ends up like, being like crap. That's what you're going to get. You're going to get stuff burnt down.
I'm not gonna
Digging
lie,
your own
brother.
grave.
I was supposed to show up there, but they didn't want to give me what WCW was giving me. It's just two shitty organizations, man. It just pissed it all away, and
I
that's
heard
what you
that.
get, brother. That's what you get.
Heard that. So what? Speaking of terribly run concert festivals, I know you touched.
Hey, brother. Oh yeah. What's this Coachella? You speak of? I don't know about this, brother.
Coachella was great. Coachella runs pretty well. Lady Gaga put on an incredible performance at Coachella. Any little monsters out there, I'm sure, had an incredible time. But I was speaking about Fire Festival, Mike.
Oh yeah, that old fire festival down there. They conned a bunch of people out. I'll tell you what, brother. If they had me down there, I would have turned that whole thing into a big old wrestling match. I would have ripped them up. You chose to mess with the Macho Man.
Yes.
You go ahead and talk about this fire thing. Yeah.
I mean, they almost did it twice, right? This Billy McFarland he tried to do it again. He, when was this? 2019, maybe 2018. Tried to pull off this Fire Fest. This was a guy, just a young dude, kind of a con man, and brings all these folks down to this, island, promised them villas, promised them, meals. He didn't have a single artist booked for the event. So, people are there paying $2,000 to go see Blink 182 on an island. Blink 182 ain't there, man. It was just these, wild influencers. Some of the influencers ended up getting decent accommodations. Everyone else, man, they were just playing Lord of the Flies out there. They got there and none of the tents were set up. They're just picking up random mattresses from trucks, trying to find their stuff. It was absolutely wild. So, they canceled the festival. But then Billy tried to do it again. He tried to pull a Fire Festival too. After he got out of prison. From the whole Fire Fest, first debacle, he's trying to do a second Fire Festival. He was selling tickets for, I think they started at $60,000. Let me double check that. This is all done now too. This is over, Squat, Cup Push. But Fire Festival 2 ticket prices, yes, they range between $1,400 and $1.1 million. That was the price of a ticket to Fire Festival 2, the Fire Festival that is no longer happening. And now Billy's trying to sell a brand, but like, what are you trying to sell? Like, what kind of brand are you trying to sell? Like, you got to understand, like, this is a terrible brand for you to sell. You know what I mean? Like, the
Well, that
only
guy's a goddamn crook, brother. He's a
he
crook.
he is a crook, and he's trying to sell a brand that's now associated with 2 failed music festivals. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. I'm sure someone will buy it, and I don't think they'll do a festival with it. They'll make some like crappy merch or whatever with it, but that's all
I'd
he's
like to
got.
buy him, brother. I'd like to buy him and put him in here between the superpowers. Yeah.
Give him an old cage match and let him know what's up.
Hell yeah, brother.
Oh boy. All right. Well, what are we? Macho Mike? What's next up on the docket, my man?
Hey, brother, what is the craziest big incident that's happened to you in your office, brother?
In my office. Well, let's look at. Why don't you go through some of these while I think about what's happened in my office.
Well, there's some person that used to work at a suburban lawyer. He's a suburban lawyer in the early 90s. That's when I was power pressing motherfuckers way over my head. And drinking too much coffee and snorting too much cocaine there with Jake the Snake Roberts, you know what I'm saying? And in the early 90s, he, who did a family law, an elderly client came in one morning drunk, stumbling, kind of like what I was kind of doing, and all the other wrestlers in the day. And he was holding on to his bottle of whiskey, pulled out a gun on the reception woman, and he said he was off to see his son, soon to be ex-wife's lawyer, to ensure he gets the justice he deserves. Needless to say, we had about 25 cops in the office within 15 minutes. An exciting, terrifying day. That sounds like a lot of action in the 90s, brother.
Yeah, that's crazier than anything that's ever happened to me. Geez, like you go into work and you expect to be safe. That is wild. That's an issue with your security department at work, man. Like you need to buff up your security there at work.
That was back in the 90s, man. Back then, we could do anything. I remember with Jake, man, he would come in there. I was like, what the hell? We're going to have a snake match. And I was like, hey, we got a problem, man. You're going to have to, we're not talking about you. We're talking about that snake. I mean, I want to see you. Is that thing tested? I don't want yeah. I want to see you. We're not doing this match till you get bit, man. I want to see you get bit, and then I'll get bit, brother.
I'm not a fan of snakes, but I mean, if you're trying to become snake brothers with someone, that's the worst way to become blood brothers, right? Like getting bit by the same snake.
I think we'd be like snake brothers, brother. Are you waiting for me or am I waiting for you?
I'm typing into the live chat, but I am waiting for you.
Another story here. We work for a finance company, has around 300 staff. I typically arrive a little earlier than most, and there would have been about 4, 5, 6 people across our 2 floors on this fateful day. One morning, a female colleague of mine who was already at work went to the bathroom only to come back 30 seconds later. Someone had to drop massive shit in the female toilet, brother, in the old commode. Right in front of the cubicle. It was fresh. It was stanky. There were only about 5 people at work, all female, apart from myself. Never found out who, but you know the story. But that shit lives on for several years.
You know, that's a mystery pooper right there. That is, you should have really, this person, that commented this, you really should have investigated that more thoroughly. You can find out who that pooper was, because that's pretty vile, and that feels like you got a lot of leads there, right? Because you only have a small office space, so you've got a certain number of people on that floor that have access to that bathroom. It's the female bathroom, so there you go. You can just cut half of the office in half and, start interviewing those people. You figure out who took a poop on that bathroom floor. You definitely should have been able to figure that out. Get that poo analyzed, start getting some 23andMe in there. I would not have let that go. I would have followed that around. I would have made sure I unmasked the mystery pooper.
Hell yeah, brother. Mystery pooper, just own up your own shits, man. We're all humans. We all living on this big old green ball of earth. We all take dumps. Ain't no shame in the game.
I will say, if I took a poop on the floor, I would never own up to that. I would lie, deny, and make counter accusations all the time if that was ever. I also I don't think I would leave a ghost poop on the floor, just a random poop. Like, I'd grab some TP, I'd put that bad boy in the toilet. I'm not just going to leave it there. This was an intentional act of malice. This was an act of terror right here.
You want to talk about an act of terror? You live down in Delco. You see that woman with the road rage? She had no issue taking a big old dookie right on top of another patron's car. Road rage, brother, ain't good unless you're in the ring with this guy. So, yeah. Let's talk about this woman down there where you're from who took a giant shit in the car.
Man, this is the nastiest woman I can ever think of. Like, good Lord, what on earth are you doing? Like, and no shame. There's a video of her taking a big old nasty dump on this woman's car. And like, man, I get it. I get mad at people when they honk their horn at me. I want to get out and yell at them, but I don't, because I'm an adult that lives in society. This woman is so outraged that she just walks up to her car, hikes that skirt up, and takes a big old dump on that Nissan emblem. Like, what are you doing, woman? Like, literally, what are you doing? Are you not aware of the concept of shame? Do you have no shame? What world do you live in where you think this is an acceptable behavior for someone in society? It is like the most vile thing I've ever seen.
That's probably the same thing I was thinking. She must be in the National Guard. Ugh. I know women.
She's a nasty girl, I'll tell you that much.
I know men and women in the National Guard. We ain't got no. Hey, brother, we ain't got no. You ain't got no decorum, as you would say. Yeah. Such as like you and I. I mean, you obviously have a little bit more decorum than I do. I'm Miller Mike, so I mean, like.
This woman,
like, you should have been out there at the National Training Center, and you used to see that everybody's like, you stop on convoy, somebody take shit, and then they're gonna go out there and scratch a hole in the earth like a bunch of cats and shit right there. Hey, what are you gonna do? You got no toilet paper, man. You gonna reach out there and grab yourself a desert rat or some desert bunny and wipe your old sphincter with it.
Well, I mean, what you're talking about is desperate times, desperate measures. This woman is just like...
There ain't no desperate measures, brother.
This woman is weaponizing her feces. It is like absolutely vile. Like that's what prisoners do. That's what the prisoners...
she's definitely a prisoner now, isn't she there, brother?
I saw the list that they were trying to get her with a lot of stuff. I mean, in the day before cell phone, she probably would have just got away scot-free. You know what I mean? No one had any, I mean, maybe that's, you get a good detective on it that's trying to match up that poo. But I mean, if that was me, if that was my car, I'm going straight to the car wash. I'm not passing go. I'm not collecting $200. I am going right to that car wash and getting that filth cleaned off of my vehicle.
As soon as she got out of the car, I'd be getting out of the truck and I'd be like, what's the problem? Yeah, we got a problem. You think you're going to take a shit on my truck? Well, I got something for you. I got a fire extinguisher out the back of my... We're going to turn this a shit fire extinguisher match. Then I'm going to body slam her right on the side of Delco Boulevard, brother.
If someone poops in my car, I am not getting out of the car to confront that person. That person is clearly mentally ill. They clearly have nothing to lose. They're ready to put it all
I ain't got nothing to lose either, man. Maybe I'm mentally ill.
Maybe.
I'll get out of the car. I'll rumble with somebody. Let's go, brother.
I ain't rumbling with that Delco pooper. I'll tell you what. She is, where she should be, which is, I don't know. She's probably out now. She probably posted bail. And I can't imagine any of that's actually a felony. It's all got to be misdemeanors. You know what I mean? Public nudity, mischief. I think they got her for illegal dumping of waste. There was like a laundry list of things, but they all had to be misdemeanors. She's gonna have quite the fine, and she'll have...
Hey, keep it down out there.
She'll have some infamy around her. You got some pups that want in, Mike.
Yeah, they're getting a little aggressive. These are speaking about taking dumps, and we're talking about dogs. You see that where this old... I don't know if you can bring it up for the old viewers on social media, but a pair of old German Shepherds really got into it, and everybody was trying to separate them. and this one dude came out of nowhere and started finger blasting his asshole. Like, what the hell is that shit, man? Is that kind of a thing?
Michael, I don't. Miller Mike, I don't know what you're talking about. This is the wildest thing. You know, Chef Gus put this here in the
Yeah. Chef Gus put it there. Miller Mike's here now.
Our chat, and good lord,
Whoa, we got ourselves another patron to the Home Bar Happy Hour.
Oh no, we got more members showing up.
Yeah, she's back here chit chatting and stuff, like talking like she's on the show, but she doesn't want to come on the show. Yeah. Oh, absolutely, brother. Come on in here. Hey, we got Jenny from the block here. Come on in here. Hey, what do you think about come on around the backside here? Ooh, hey.
Cheers.
Yeah, talk about speaking of camera, talk about the is that a thing for you where you come in a pair of aggressive dogs and then they want it like what do you do with an aggressive dog? You try to separate foot. You want to finger blast their asshole?
I hate it. They were barking at me as I walked in here. I'm like, I'm here all the time.
So you'd finger blast their asshole is what you're telling me, huh?
I sure would. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh well, I guess that's kind of a thing, brother.
This really took a turn, Nelly. I guess she probably can't hear me, huh? She doesn't have headphones on.
That's all right. I'll just transfer. She's digging around in there looking for some cold beers.
No, I brought some.
It's always good to bring some beers on your way.
It's always good to have a couple patrons come over during the Home Bar Happy Hour. You know, it's Friday, man. It's 80-something degrees out. I got that pool open, man, but oof, I wouldn't want to jump in there, brother. It's kind of like a witch's kettle of chemicals, man. They give you a bunch of instructions to open up the pool. I don't fucking pay attention to any instructions, man. I just dump all of it. It's like a witch's kettle, brother.
So
just turn the pump on and let it do its job.
So, Miller Mike, the video that Chef Gus threw in here is nothing about fingering dogs' buttholes. It's all about this woman that walks up to an electric fence with some horses on it.
Oh, that may be the wrong one, but yeah, we could do that one too. Yeah, that dog that came up there and just wanted to sniff around and he caught his little snout right on the electric fence, and then the donkey started laughing.
Let's see if I can bring this bad boy up. Good. Oh boy.
Well, hey man, we got Backlash coming up. In the meantime, man, next weekend. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Baby, you're scaring the horses.
Oh, she got caught by that goddamn electric fence.
Yeah.
She caught a couple of volts and up and didn't get herself a pisser.
What'd you do?
Beat my pants.
Ooh, that'll get you every time.
Yeah. You know, I'll catch you a couple jolts right to the heart. I'll wake you up better than a Rutter's coffee, brother.
You know, back in the day, I used to be a motorcyclist. I've slowed down now, and now I just ride bicycles around. But it wasn't the very last time I was on a motorcycle, but one of the closest last times I was riding around. I was down like the Peach Bottom area, down by the water. Came up on one of those roads. It was all tarred and chipped and tarred. You know, they pull it all up. Bike flew out from under me. Got a little bit of road rash, nothing too crazy. Went to go pick up my bike. My bike had flown into an electric fence. So I'm over there trying to pick up the bike, just getting electrocuted over. Well, not electrocuted. That means you're dead. But just getting shocked the crap out of me, dude. That was brutal. Yeah. I was like, you know what? Maybe this life ain't for me. Maybe I'm not a son of anarchy. You know, I'll just be a bicyclist.
Kind of reminds me of earlier this morning, man. I was up there, grocery shopping, get myself some cold beer, gonna wash my truck. I was just out there earlier out in Pittsburgh, doing a big old caring event. It's prom weekend for all these kids out there,
Oh yeah, and, the prom.
So I had like all these bugs across Miller Mike's front of the truck. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so went over there, got some beer, washed the truck. And then it came back, and I don't know what the hell I was talking about. What were we talking about here? Oh, the guys on the bikes and stuff. And they got these electric these bikes, man. They're like zipping around, coming into oncoming traffic and stuff. And I'm like, whoa, what are you doing, brother?
Yeah, they're whipping. They try to get it around, but I'm fine with it. They have the bikes now, the electric bikes that are supposed to be like self-balancing, so you don't kill yourself. But I ain't getting back on one of them.
Man, what are you gonna do, man? I remember when we, back in the '90s, man. Even earlier in the '90s, you had like training wheels and shit, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean there have been training wheels. Now everyone rides around the 3-wheel bikes. You got those bikes that have 2 wheels up front. Like, bro, just get off of that. You know what I mean? Like, just get yourself a car. If you're not gonna really ride a bike, you're just
I had the windows
big
down. All of a
thinker.
sudden, here it's going. I'm like, what the hell was that, brother?
That's those hybrids, man. Silent but deadly. That's what they are. They just sneak up on you. Get
I
run
know.
over by a Cybertruck. You don't want that.
Yeah. Well, he had a couple cardboard signs with him, so I guess he was on to his next intersection, brother.
Well, you gotta get that money somehow. Them tariffs are hitting in. It's hard times out there for everyone.
Oh, absolutely, brother. There's a lot of hard times out there for everyone, but not as hard as what Hulk Hogan and I had. Man, we had some hard times together, brother. What's your problem, Hulkster? You know, I don't think he didn't know what all these pukesters. I'll take on these pukesters. You know, I drank the coffee right from the cream, brother. No cream at all, just right from the top.
Is that? Can you tell me, Mike, where does the cream go?
And the cream goes right to the top, brother.
Is that where it goes? I wasn't sure. I'm glad. Thank you for clarifying where the cream went.
But yeah, man, we got Backlash next Saturday, brother. Right on Peacock
Backlash.
Live. Backlash. We got John Cena and Randy Orton, the Viper. We got them coming together, man. It's going to be a good old-fashioned match, man. Like an old one in the making.
Well,
I still got John Cena coming out on top. I feel like there's something going on there, man.
Well, we didn't talk about it. It's pretty wild. John Cena comes away with the belt. I did not think that was going to happen. I thought that he was going to go make his good run for it, and that they were going to let the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes hold on to it for just a little bit longer. But Lordy, they did not. And Cody Rhodes.
I don't know, man. I feel like you got more shock value in that bike ride of yours in the defense than you did with WrestleMania. This WrestleMania had no shock value at all.
Yeah, you weren't a big fan of the WrestleMania. I watched you and our other Home Bar Happy Hour patron.
We had our little guest.
Yeah, but that was night 1. That wasn't night 2.
That was night 2. Oh, that was Chef Gus. He was getting ready for the celebration of the Easter and
yeah. But I'm just saying y'all hadn't watched night 2 yet. It was just like a recap of night 1.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was a little shocked by it. I didn't think it was gonna. I mean, I guess not totally shocked. Anything can happen, but I really didn't think it was gonna go that way. But it did, and it did. It does. That's how it goes.
Hey, sister, while you're over here, you want to go over and we got some corn on the cob on the grill. Let's reach in there and roll them over a little bit. I got it on low. Thank you.
Getting some corn cobs.
Nah, you'll be all right. Just roll in there and just open up the lid and just use your own fingers. You'll be all right.
All right. Having a party over there. Let's hope no fingers get lost,
No.
Inside
This is the
dogs
thing.
or
You gotta
otherwise.
have those chef's hands. He didn't take. You just touch them, just roll them over a little bit. They'll be all right.
Nah, you don't want to lose them digits though. You got to keep them fingerprints.
Yeah. Well, hey, ain't like we got a dog around here. You know what I'm saying, brother?
I guess so. You don't want to leave any fingerprints in or outside of anything.
Yeah, you're goddamn right, brother. But we're gonna shift off here. I'm gonna get a little serious.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, imagine that.
I was gonna say, who are you?
Eyes are sweating. We got a little bit of time left here on the show. I feel like we need to start shortening the show a little bit. Just a little bit. Sure. Nothing crazy, but we're at the 30-minute mark here. And I wanted to talk about the new docuseries on Netflix, the Vietnam War. Now, I had the chance to watch the whole thing, and me and you being a Afghanistan veteran, and me being both an Afghanistan and Iraq veteran, it definitely, touched home just a little bit, but just the absolute respect, and there can never be so much respect for Vietnam veterans and what they went through and what they, that was just the most chaotic and shittiest war and it's such a good watch for somebody who's never been in the military and who has like you me personally, I get it. Like, I've always gotten like bits and pieces and like kind of like outside like comments and stuff like that for people who lived during that time. And like it's such a good documentary. I do feel like I would say 85% I love 85 to 90% of it I loved. But there's always that 10% that's like a little there's always a little bit of objectivity to it, like opinionated.
Sure.
And
It's always gonna
I
be.
didn't really,
Nothing's 100%
you know,
objective.
yeah, because there was more to it. I feel like there was more to it than just what they say. And I feel like they're just like like I love Turning Point. I mean like I loved their documentary on the bomb and the Cold War. I'm very knowledgeable with that. And so I wanted to watch it and but I didn't like the one-sided opinionation, or if that's even a fucking word. But yeah, I didn't really like there's more to it. Like there's debatable the stuff that they added towards the end to turn their narrative is very debatable. But with the Vietnam War, um I feel like there's in the beginning there's in the beginning, and then when they started getting into the war protests, like there's a little bit of just a little bit of debatable narrative that they left out in order to keep it on their narrative. Well, I mean, it's not a bad narrative. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but they do go on a little narrative, but they've done better this time to try to keep it straightforward. I get it. So, but I mean, if you're gonna bring in like North Vietnamese war fighters and speak about killing Americans, like you should probably keep it open more. Does that make sense?
I haven't seen the documentary, right? And most of what I know from Vietnam comes from Vietnam War movies. Like
Yeah,
there's a really great podcast I'll kind of plug, I guess, that came from The Ringer called "Do We Get to Win This Time?" That talks, it kind of goes over like all of these like really famous Vietnam movies. That it was super weird, right? Like if you look at like after World War II, but World War II was pretty clear cut, black and white, like who were the bad guys and who was doing what. All of those movies a lot of them were also under the Hays Code. I'm getting a little into the weeds with like the Hollywood stuff, but
yeah. If you can really get into the weeds with the documentaries and stuff like that.
yeah.
Um, I
But
mean, it's
just
it's
saying
almost
with that,
impossible.
like
Yeah,
the World War II movies were very clear cut. There was always like a hero, there was a lot of John Wayne stuff. And then in the 70s, you started getting all of these Vietnam movies, right? You got Apocalypse Now and Platoon. I guess that was the 80s. And, Hamburger Hill and just all of these like really great Vietnam movies. And Rambo, right, is another one, like great
yeah.
one.
Well,
That
the
started like,
Rainbow's like more of like the how veterans were treated when they came home.
exactly, but that's what I mean. It was such a it was I don't, I guess we get a little bit of it now with like some of the Iraq and Afghanistan war movies that come out, but that was the first time you really saw like art being made about a war like immediately after it by the people who were a part of it. So
Yeah.
I think everyone that fought in that war and I think everyone that fought in that war had a lot of conflicted feelings about it. Maybe not everyone,
Yes,
but I
absolutely.
think a
Not
lot of
just
people
feelings,
were.
but just like I feel like it had to do with a lot of miscommunication based on like how messed up politics was, but with the politicians, and then them relaying it to the military in order for them to do their jobs. Because I feel like Westmoreland should have been canned or pulled out way earlier than way like back like uh the docu series, basically they showed JFK, gave him leniency because obviously he was assassinated,
Yeah.
which was terrible. And I mean, and then they kind of gave a lot on LBJ because I felt like that was when LBJ pushed. That was at the height of the war, and then like, and then when Nixon got elected, then he kind of wanted to get out of the war, but he was kind of like, well, maybe we can maybe do a last ditch attempt to win the war, and he expanded out to Cambodia to take out the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and then like he started bringing soldiers home, and it's like it's all so familiar with Afghanistan and Iraq.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I mean, you know, what happened in Vietnam was a lot of
Oh, it's
propaganda and
wholly different, totally different. You know,
well,
it's such a horrible like it was. Well, one, why the like I understand why we should have been there because it's like the quote unquote the theory of the domino effect of communism. And
right.
back then, we it's a lack of information from everybody. And now we have like social media and everything, so everybody's able to get all the information they want and click, choose what they want to, and uh
I mean, not all the information you're getting from social media we have a lot more information, but we have a lot of bad information too. But you know, during Vietnam, it was like you said, it was a lot of propaganda and fear mongering against communism and the idea that communism would take over, and you know, this Cold War would become, you know, we had like the fear of nuclear arms, we had the fear of communism, and those two things were kind of combined to create this
I
like war
I
effort.
believe I believe that fear, that initial fear, why we got in was the actual inevitable failure of the war. Because if you look at it, like American forces and the Southern Vietnamese forces pushed all the way up to the 17th parallel to the border, and that's where they stopped at Da Nang, like right there at Da Nang I forget the I forget the one city above it, but that's basically where they stopped. I mean, like, why stop there? Like, just go all the way up and just take them all out. Like, you're basically just leaving the nest. It's like spraying a bunch of hornets and then leaving the nest there. And a lot of people like have their opinions. I know my father does, but I mean, that's opinions and
Yeah.
it's not facts. I believe I know there's in my opinion, we should have just if you're going to get people involved in a war like that, you got to go for it all. You take the whole thing, and they didn't want to because apparently I don't know the politics, but from what I get it, they didn't want to go all the way up in the North Vietnam because that's where China is,
I
and
mean,
you
you
know.
know, again, you know, I
Plus,
wasn't
plus you're
there. I
also
have
plus, yeah. Plus, you also have Soviet Union and China financing the North Koreans, so
right. Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of hard.
it's one of those things where like it was kind of the beginning of America being seen as like the world's police, where it's like we're getting involved in a conflict that we probably shouldn't be getting involved in, and we're
Yep,
saying we have, you know, this big the concern of the domino effect and everything else with you know, if communism takes there, it's going to continue to spread, and that's basically what happened though, right? Like, I mean, you know, we
yeah,
weren't able to prevent it and communism did spread. So but in the end, like, how much did that actually affect us? um you know, a lot of weird things happen, especially when we talk about, you know, the economy. That's when our after World War II, our taxes, you know, were no longer going to fund a war, but war bonds were becoming a very big money maker for the American economy. A lot of other countries, including China, has a lot of money into you know, American bonds and our treasury. So it, you know, it definitely felt like a way to keep like money flowing in, and we've done a lot of wars to keep money flowing in, and you know, there's so many different kind of facets to the idea of like our economy, how it's connected to the war and the war economy and the various wars we get in. And you know, I worked in ballistics and defense for 10 years on the civilian side, so you know, that money has funded my career too. But it's, you know, this wild thing where you're in wars, they're making armor, they're making bullets, they're making tanks, all that stuff, and you got companies like Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman that are making billions of dollars a year on that stuff. So, you know, and
absolutely.
employing thousands of people. So, you know, you keep that machine going.
Yep, I absolutely agree.
So,
Um, I just want to put it out there. I feel like we're at the end of the episode here, so I just want to put it out there that if you're a veteran and it doesn't matter who you are and where you've been. If you ever need somebody to talk to, I mean, like, dude, reach out. It doesn't, like, we're like kind of like neutral, so like reach out, like talk to us. You know, you want to bullshit us, you know, even like bullshitting, just like talk to us, stuff like that on the messenger or reach out to us. Like, it's not a big deal, man. Dude, Joe and I will talk to anybody. That's why we're doing this podcast. We're just basically talking into the wind.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we both like to talk. I'll talk to a rock, you know, if it'll listen. But yeah, we'd love to talk to you.
I'll talk to some hard meat.
Oh,
I'll
man.
talk to a steak that's on the grill.
Let's
well, we got corn on there right now.
You know, before we end it, Mike, let's jump up on a little bit of a more positive note. Bro, did you get a chance to see The Accountant 2?
I have not, so don't ruin it for me. I'm gonna go see it tomorrow.
This is all I'll say. The Accountant 2 is like a Minecraft movie for adults. Like, we don't care about Jack Black and little square people and chicken jockeys. Ooh. You know what we want to see? We want to see John Barenthal ripping heads. We want to see Ben Affleck in a goofy voice dancing with his Hoka sneakers and then just capping some dudes. Yeah, that movie absolutely rules.
I wish I'd put these Macho Man glasses back on, but my eyes were so sweaty.
All right. Yeah, it's an absolute great flick. Why don't you send us out, Mike? Send us out with something fun, and then I'll play the outro.
All right, brother. Well, hey, man, it is summer. This is the kickoff summer episode, and man, we got the pool open, we got the boat cut open. We're ready to rock and roll, man. You know, I just wish there was a little bit more water for my lawn so I can, you know, make it past the Phoenix, Arizona level without it all burning out. But hey, man, well, let's keep it real. You guys have a great night tonight. You know, be safe. Always get an Uber. Don't get the DUI or anything like that. Be safe and always roll out, America. Yeah, brother. Just came out on Wednesday. I was gonna say,